Hello and welcome to Crochet and Craft Away. In this lesson I'm going to teach you how to do an half double crochet. And to start with, we make our foundation chain. I've done a foundation chain of 20. You could do your foundation chain of your required length. So I've got 20 stitches or 20 chain stitches in my foundation chain. And then what you do when you're ready is you wrap your yarn round hook, place your hook into the third chain across from the hook. So that's 1, 2, 3. Place it in there in that stitch or chain. Yarn round hook, pull the first loop through, yarn round hook and pull the last 3 stitches through, and there you have your half treble crochet. And to carry on, we do the next chain across. So we yarn round hook, put a hook through the first or the next chain from that stitch we've just completed, yarn round hook, pull that stitch or the yarn through that first loop, yarn round hook and pull through the last 3 hoops. There you have another half treble crochet. And again, yarn round hook, put your hook through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull that yarn through that loop, yarn round hook, pull the hook and the yarn through the last 3 stitches. And again, yarn round hook, place hook through the next loop across from the completed stitch, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the last 3 loops. And again, yarn round hook, place your hook through the next loop from that stitch across, yarn round hook, pull through the first loop on the hook, yarn round hook, pull through the last 3 loops on the hook. It's looking nice. If you've gone as far as this, well done you. And again, make sure you got plenty of tension because you don't want it to, because just then I was pulling and it was quite tight. So yarn round hook, place your hook into the next loop, yarn round hook, pull that loop over the yarn, yarn round hook, pull the hook through the last 3 loops. And again, yarn round hook, place the hook through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull that yarn through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through all 3. And again, yarn round hook, place the hook through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull through the last 3 hooks. Don't forget to hold your needle, your thumb on this flat bit of your needle. Depends what needle you've got, but if you've got a flat bit on here, make sure that you hold it there, not too tight, not too loose, and you're not pulling your wool tight, you're just going with it. And again, yarn round hook, place hook through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the last 3. Again, there's another one. I'll carry on till the end and I'll show you what I do to start the second row. So yarn round hook, put through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull the last 3. Again, yarn round hook, in through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the last 3, yarn round hook, put through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull for the last 3. And again, like I said, I'll show you to the end so we can start off our second row. Yarn round hook, in through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull that yarn through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull it through the last 3. Yarn round hook, in through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull it through the last 3. And again, I think I've got 3 stitches left. Yarn round hook, pull it through to that loop, pull the yarn through the loop, yarn round hook, pull through the last 3. And again, yarn round hook, pull it through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull that through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull your yarn through the last 3. One more time on this row, yarn round hook, put your hook through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through the first loop, yarn round hook, pull it through the last 3. Okay. And that's your first row. I don't know if you can see that. It's quite neat. So if you've gone this far, well done you. That's fantastic. So what we do then to do our second row, I don't know if you can see that, it looks a bit blurry. Make that out, just take that away, that's better. That's fantastic. Right, so we then, for our second row, what I'm going to do, you could do 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 1 or 2 chain stitches and then turn. I'm going to do 2, and I'm going to do 2 chain stitches on the end of this row. So 1, 2, yeah. Then I'm going to turn my work, put the yarn the other way. Some people do 1 chain, some people do 2. And then we're going to do exactly what we did with the first row. And that's yarn round hook. And we'll put it through the third one across. I mean, on your pattern, it states when you're doing a pattern or it's asking you to do an half treble crochet, it will state how many loops to go into to start with. I'm just giving you a rough idea of the stitches, not of the pattern I'm doing. So when you start in your new row, look at what it states. Does it state go in the first 3, the first 2? But for this lesson, I'm going to go into the first 3. So yarn round hook, go into the first of the 3. Sorry, the third. I'll repeat that. So I'm on my second row, I've done my 2 chain. So I'm going to go round the hook with my yarn, put my hook through the 3rd loop from my hook, then yarn over hook, pull through the 1st loop, yarn round hook, pull through the last 3. And we're doing exactly the same now as what we did on our first row. So yarn round hook, in through the next stitch, yarn round hook, pull the yarn through, yarn round hook, pull through the last 3. I mean, that's not looking too bad, is it? Please comment if you've done your half treble crochets. Let me know how you found this video, because I don't know if you're aware, but I've only been doing it a year myself and I'm still pretty new with all the stitches. So feel free to criticise in a nice way, in a good way, to do with the crocheting, and share your work with me, your channels with me. It'd be great to see your channels on my channels, and your tips and ideas. Bring them along, share your tips. It'd be great. I'd love to see that. For the next stitch, it's yarn round hook, in through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull that yarn through the 1st loop, yarn round hook, pull it through the last 3. Again, yarn round hook, pull it through the next loop, yarn round hook, pull that yarn through the 1st loop, yarn round hook, pull it through the next 3. And again, you can see that's looking lovely. And well done again if you've gone this far. That's fantastic. Really is. And again, yarn round hook, put it through the next loop, pull the yarn through the 1st loop, yarn round hook, pull it through the next 3. Yarn round hook, pull it through the next 1, yarn round hook, pull it through the 1st loop, yarn round hook, and pull it through the last 3. And as you can see, you're working your half treble crochets. Like I said, send me your work, show me what you've done, tell me if you've liked this video. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Thank you.